Welcome back to Nothing to Say, the Fans Podcast. Week 1 of the NFL season is behind us. Week 2 of the NFL season is in front of us. So we're going to dance a line in between both. We're going to start with a little bit of week 1 and then move our way towards week 2. Sam, just real quick thoughts on week 1 of the NFL season and everything that transpired.
And we cannot move away from week 1 fast enough. I don't know about you, Jason. Raiders didn't look good. Niners certainly didn't look good. They looked about as good. Trey Lance looked about as good as the grass that they were playing on in Chicago, because that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was I don't even know what, but again, and we'll get to that later. We'll get to all of the interesting games of week 1, and then we also have our very famous and starting to get some world recognition segment, Move the Chains. So let's actually roll the intro to that right now. So, Move the Chains. If you are new to the show, the way that this is going to work, I have 3 takes. Sam has 3 takes. We have not told them to each other. I'll say 1, he'll say 1. If we agree with the take, then you move the chains. That's the first down. If you disagree with it, then you're punting and you'll have to explain why. Sam, you want to go first or do you want me to start?
Yeah, maybe we should change it to either you get the first down on 4th and 5 or you're kicking a 64-yard field goal for the win. Maybe that's how we should do it.
Maybe. I mean, we can throw that out there. Like, I'll move the chains, but I'll punt, but, depending on, where I am on the field, that definitely played into quite a few of the games this past week.
And it's actually I'll just start it off here, Jason.
Yeah.
Right where we left off on Monday night in Seattle, 30 minutes down the road from here. The most disappointing loss of the weekend, which there was a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember a weekend where there was so many upsets or so many potential playoff teams that looked bad in one week. But I think Denver's loss to Seattle is the worst.
Denver's loss to Seattle is the worst. I think I'm going to move the chains on that one. And I think I have to, not solely, because here's the thing. The loss to Seattle, I think on the surface, yes, does look bad. But I think more so than just, if you take out the clock management stuff, which is so hard to do, I don't even know if it's even worth trying to argue this point. I don't know if losing to Seattle in Seattle is the worst thing in the world, but in the manner in which they lost with the clock I don't know if any of you guys have seen the video clip of Peyton Manning during the Manning cast doing this, like right at the minute mark, like you guys need to call timeout. There was something, it was either on Bleacher Report or ESPN. He did this 62 times in the span of like 30 seconds before they called timeout. And yeah, that solely because of the last minute of that game. Yes, I agree with you. Forget everything else. It was just that last minute that, yeah, for me, I agree with you.
Well, a team that I think everyone agrees, should win double-digit games this year. A lot of people I think Colin had them as the best in the AFC West, Colin Cowherd, and like one of the top 5 teams in the NFL. The fact that they were even in that position with the 2 goal line fumbles and the inability of their offense with Russ to move down the field and getting torched by Geno Smith in the first half. I think all of that combined to, wow, we just traded for this guy and we lost to the team that we traded with in the first week. Like, we were supposed to be a quarterback away, and it's not looking like it right now.
Yeah. I'm going to juxtapose this. This isn't one of my takes, but I'm going to do it against yours. Would you say that if the Broncos had the worst loss of the week, would you move the chains on the Giants having the best win?
Oh, my goodness. I don't know, man. It's between them or Pittsburgh. I don't think I've seen 2 teams have more fun than those 2 after they got that win. The Giants, the sheer surprise when Randy Bullock can't remember his first name, Bullock for the Titans when he missed that kick.
I'll pull it
Just
up.
The Brian Daboll, like, holy cow, we actually want Saquon losing his mind of actually having a winning record for the first time. The fact that they did that with a pretty mediocre roster against the AFC's best team last year, I think it's got to be the Giants. I don't think any single person, that might have been like a 90% to 10% pick rate of lock it in. Titans are going to win that game.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason why I would put that as the best win is, one, you have Saquon, who's been out for so long, comes out 18 carries, 164, 9
best
yards a carry, 1 touchdown. I mean, at least through week 1. And the reason why I wouldn't say it was Pittsburgh is because despite winning that game, losing TJ Watt puts a damper on that game solely. I mean, you can feel great about the win, but losing, I know there's good news coming out that he's not going to be out for the whole season, so that's fantastic. But I mean, that defense revolves around TJ Watt, so I would just put the Giants because they didn't lose one of their most prized players.
But think about like how many the ups and downs of that Cincy Pittsburgh game.
Definitely the craziest game.
They could have lost that game 3 times on a field goal, right? Once in regulation, 2 times in overtime, and every single time they got it done to beat a really good Cincy team. I totally get that. That might be a huge sting and like a huge damper on the mood. The fact that TJ Watt was injured. Mike Tomlin didn't seem like it was dampening his mood. Did you see his moves in the locker room? That was awesome. Doing a little A/B dance, doing the gritty.
Common win for Mike Tomlin, honestly. All right, I'll give you my take. My first one. I think for me, it is safe to say that you can have a legitimate conversation, and you could have, in my opinion, you could have had this conversation at the end of last season. But I think right now, Josh Allen has made a case that he is on equal playing field with Patrick Mahomes. I don't think that is, I'm not going to say better, because I understand that head-to-head record is going to look much more in Mahomes' favor. But if you just go off of arm talent, and you have to add in what he can do with his legs, I think you can at least have a conversation that they are on at least level playing field now.
Man, weren't we treated as like phenomenal quarterback play? Josh Allen, what he did to open it. I'm sorry, Patrick Mahomes, that was uber impressive what he did. Oh, Tyreek Hill's gone? I don't even need him. Give me Joe Smith and John Adams over here, and I'll turn them into touchdown receivers. Like, it did not matter. This is what I said. I'm going to pat myself on the back here because I called this. I said that Patrick was going to get to that level of what Aaron has been, what Tom has been his whole career of. He will take any receiver. He'll take a Juju, which Pittsburgh didn't want. He'll take a MVS. He'll take McCole Hardman. He'll take all these guys, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who looked like a bust, and turn them into beasts. Of course, he's got Kelce still, but.
And to that point, he threw it to 9 different wide receivers. 9 wide receivers caught balls. And I'll tell you what, I didn't get a chance to say this last show because we couldn't fit a segment in. Like, we didn't pick who we thought was going to win MVP or who we thought was going to win offensive or defensive player of the year. Yeah. But I was going to take a flyer and say Travis Kelce had an opportunity to win offensive player of the year. That was going to be my outside, because I didn't want to just go like, running back or Jamar Chase or something like that. I wanted to at least have one pick that I just threw like a flyer on. And he was a guy who I was like, okay, if I'm going to take a long shot to win offensive player of the year, it would be Travis Kelce. And all he does that first week is come out and have 8 receptions for 121 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to do so much because of how great he's been for so long. Like, he would have to have a Cooper Kupp year for tight ends. Yeah. Like, he would have to break every single tight end.
But again, I do think he has the ability to do that with. For sure. I mean, he's the number 1 wide receiver, right?
For sure.
So.
to answer it, I think you got to punt on it. What if you were to ask me before Sunday? I maybe would have been there like, oh, okay, we saw amazing things from Josh Allen, especially with his legs, and his ability to be a dual threat with that amazing arm. Maybe he's on the same level as Mahomes, but what Mahomes did, I mean, that was effortless. Really, what he did without his best receiver. I mean, if you're to take the receiving core of Buffalo versus the weapons that Kansas City has, it's not close. It's not close at all. I mean, Travis has a huge advantage over Dawson Knox, but Dawson Knox is a Pro Bowl level tight end potentially, and you got Stephon Diggs is head and shoulders above everyone. Gabe Davis, I think, is better than every single wide receiver. Isaiah McKenzie even could be considered better than every single
Jamison
receiver.
Crowder again. Jamison Crowder's not a scrub either.
Yep. I mean, if you're going to go to degree of difficulty, what Patrick Mahomes did to dominate Arizona. I heard people saying that Arizona looked like a JV squad.
I heard
out
that
there.
too.
Looked like a high school team because of what Kansas City did. They looked better than they did last year. And that's going to be an overreaction on Overreaction Monday right there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, hit me with your second one.
All right. I mean, I don't know how we do this so effortlessly, but the Chiefs, not the Chargers, look like the class of the AFC West after week 1.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd move the change on that one. And I know that we both picked the Chiefs to win. I mean, the Chargers to win that division. And I don't want to fall victim to overreacting. And actually, you know what? I did the Mahomes Chiefs one. You did the Chiefs talking about the Chargers. My next one's going to be about the Chargers Raiders game, so it'll flow seamlessly. Yeah. Week 1, I think you got to take everything with a little bit of grain of salt. So I think on paper the Chargers should be better than the Chiefs, really. But if Mahomes is going to go scorched earth. It's going to be hard. And I mean, I was watching the Raiders Chargers game, obviously, and the defensive line for the Chargers is just unbelievable, especially if Khalil Mack decides to revert back to younger looking Khalil Mack.
Yeah, you have Von Miller and Khalil Mack turning back the clock in the same week.
I know. But at least through week 1, if just taking into account week 1, which is all we have so far, they looked head and shoulders better than the Chargers.
I think you nail it though. It's Mahomes, because Herbert put up a top 3 quarterback display, especially that first half before Keenan Allen got injured.
He was great.
The dude was didn't even
I have his numbers right here. He's 26 for 34, 279, 3 touchdowns.
To different guys, to tight ends, to no-name wide receivers, Mike Williams didn't even get a target until like the second half. And he's a 20 million receiver.
Yeah.
I think right now, the way Mahomes is playing, I give the edge to the Chiefs, but the level that we saw from the Chargers defense, that is a game changer. The way they were able to provide a lot of challenges for a good Vegas offense.
Good offense. So let me go right to that then. I'll give you my second take. And this will be about the Raiders, obviously. My thought, there are 2 ways to look at that game. I think you can look at it from a negative point of view or a positive point of view. And I'm going to say right now, if you're a Raider fan, don't worry about the Raiders yet. Don't take into account that week 1 game. And I know it's hard to do, but my reasoning for this is, okay, I hear in one breath, you can look at Derek and say, Derek, the 3 interceptions, that cost us the game. And I could hear an argument for that. Or you can look at the offensive line and say the 7 sacks cost the game. No, I get it. Couple those together, it's going to be really hard to win a game when you throw 3 interceptions and give up 7 sacks. What I will say to try to flip your opinion on that is, 1, they didn't play any starters in the preseason, which for the life of me, I don't understand. I still don't.
A lot of teams didn't.
I know. I still don't get that. I mean, I understand wanting to be as healthy as possible going into the regular season, but those reps are so valuable. And with an offensive line that is sort of new in the sense that they're kind of rotating players, trying to figure out who's going to be their line, you need snaps together. Obviously, Derek and Devontae look like they were back in college, like they were in sync. So my main argument is going to be he threw 3 picks and they gave up 7 sacks, and yet with 2 minutes left to go, they had a chance to drive down and win the game. So they probably played their worst game that they're going to play all season, and hopefully, and they still only lost by 5 and had a chance to drive and win the game. So yeah, there were a lot of negatives, but some positives to take away is one, I mean, Devontae looks great in a Raiders uniform. He played great in a Raiders uniform. The Raiders have a stud in Nate Hobbs in the secondary. Max played well. Josh Jacobs, he never has a huge injury, but he always seems to be a little bit nicked up. Looked great. He was explosive. He was fast. I don't know why they didn't try to establish the run a little bit more. But my message to Raider fans is they played their worst game, hopefully, and they still almost had a chance to drive down and win. They did have a chance to drive down and win. So I'm going to choose to look at that from a positive point of view. We'll see what happens next week.
I think I moved the chains on being patient, not panicking, really, from a Raiders perspective. Like you said, like they didn't play their best game. I'd be a little worried that Chandler Jones really wasn't anywhere to be seen on Sunday. I feel like that's kind of tough. But on the other side, Devontae, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I mean, you could flip-flop them, but Devontae may have looked like the best wide receiver in football. Maybe Justin Jefferson, but like he is up there, and he in a new system looks incredible.
Absolutely.
For that team. Huge positive there. Yeah, like you said, it didn't get out of hand. It looked like that game was going to get way out of hand. Maybe the Chargers injuries kind of caught up to them. The fact that they didn't have JC Jackson probably hurt. The fact that they weren't able to guard Devontae Adams. Keenan Allen injury, you could just see the effects of that on their offense. Like he is such a stabilizing force for the team. He's a lot like what Devontae will be, but I think in years past what Renfrow was. Of any big time play you need, you're going to him. I thought that was kind of weird because I actually did watch the end of it. I feel like Derek was going to Renfrow a lot, almost forcing it to him.
Renfrow or Adams?
To Renfrow. Because I feel like
he's a security blanket, yeah.
2 of his picks, or at least the last pick, was he was trying to feed it into Renfrow.
Yeah.
I don't know. They'll iron it out, man. This was their first game. Like you said, they didn't play the preseason at all. This was their first live game of trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, and they have what looks like a very winnable game next week at home versus the Cardinals. I definitely think they can win that game. And if they, I don't think that, on paper, I think they should win that game. I really do. And then you go next week to Tennessee against the Titans, and who knows?
Looks pretty winnable right now.
Looks pretty winnable at the moment. And then, after that, you get your another divisional test with the Broncos. So they need these 2 games, because the reality of the situation is the division is not going to give them wins. So they're going to have to go out and get every win that they can outside of the division. So we spent a lot of time on that. Let's move on to the last 2.
Yeah, my last one, team I was thoroughly impressed with, especially the play of their quarterback, the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
They might be a playoff team this year.
I'm not going to move the chains on that one. But I was I was happy for Carson Wentz. I know he threw 2 picks, but dude was slinging it all over the field. 27 of 41, 313, 4 touchdowns. Antonio Gibson, you got to take into account the situation that happened with the Commanders' running back room, but he took advantage of the unfortunate situation. 14 carries, 7 receptions. Terry McLaurin looked good. Curtis Samuel, I mean, he looked great. I mean, I'm all in for Carson Wentz having a little bit of a comeback. I mean, I think that would be cool because he's a talented player. I mean, he's fun to watch. I mean, when he's on, he's very fun to watch. But unfortunately, and I'm glad you brought up the Commanders because my next one is going to be about the Eagles. I just don't think they're going to pass the Eagles, so I'm not going to move the chains on that one.
It's all right. You're just a non-believer.
Okay, but here's the thing: like, if they're going to be a wild card, then who are they going to have to beat out, really?
49ers, probably at this point.
But I mean, realistically, I mean, you're looking at, the Dolphins. I'm sorry, wrong division, wrong conference too. You're looking at like the Rams, the Niners. You're looking at the Packers and the Vikings, the Saints and the Bucks.
Dude, the Vikings are for sure making it. They looked so good.
They might win that division.
I don't think. I think
they might. Not 100% sure.
Aaron's got some tricks up his sleeve.
I know, and we both picked the Packers, and I'm not going to jump off that pick, but I won't be surprised if the Vikings win that division. All right, my last one. My last one is going to be about the Eagles. We did like long shot predictions. We did like middle of the pack, and then long shot predictions for the season. And my long shot prediction was that come like week 12, Jalen Hurts will be in the MVP conversation. I'm not saying he's going to win, but he'll be there. I still think he's got to, after week 1, I have no reason to believe that isn't going to be the case. He didn't light up the world with, how many completions he had. He was 18 for 32, 243, but he also ran 17 times, had 90 yards and a touchdown. He accounted for, over 325 yards of total offense by himself. And the whole AJ Brown thing was a little bit of a mystery to see how that was going to look. Obviously, because Jalen Hurts has been, under some fire over the years about him being, a throwing quarterback. 10 catches, 155 yards. He fit right in. And right now, especially with what happened to Dak, the Eagles are going to run away with that division.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's no doubt. A little scary. I will be the first out of anyone to say that I think Detroit's going to be pretty good this year. A little scary that game was that tight towards the end.
Bit, yes.
Because Philadelphia controlled it for sure. And then I looked back and it was like, oh, whoa, it's like a 3-point game.
Yep.
What's going on here? To let Detroit score, 35 on them? It's 38-35?
Yeah, 35. It was 38-35.
That's kind of worrisome for a team that's supposed to be making the playoffs. If you're giving up that many points, and I know it's just week 1, but what does this show if we're not overreacting to just 1 week of football,
Right.
That's a little worrisome.
A little, yeah, giving up 35 points to the Lions. Yeah, not sure. We know that the Lions are America's team right now, thanks to Hard Knocks. And who knows?
Hey, they're favored this week.
After that performance, you never know. All right. I have one bonus question for you. And it's specifically pertaining to the 49ers. Just because I wanted to talk.
I thought we weren't going to talk about the 49ers.
Yeah, you weren't. I was.
We talked beforehand. We were like, hey, we're going to be nice to the Raiders.
I don't think so, yeah. No,
Dan was nice to the Raiders, and then just bring up the darkest moment of my life.
It is the first show that we're doing after week 1, so it obviously, overreaction for week 1. So here's my question to you. The 49ers will regret taking Trey Lance over Justin Fields, move the chains, or not?
No, punt. Not regret taking Justin Fields. I think if the question was trading so much to move up for Trey Lance, that's a possibility after that game. But Justin Fields, he really, we talked about it off, but I was curious to see if he had improved, took that leap from his freshman year to his sophomore season in the NFL, he looks the same. And a part of that is probably the worst O-line in the NFL. Another part of it is, can you name a wide receiver on his team? If you're not playing fantasy, all of us fantasy people know Darnell Mooney because he's a sleeper, but Amon-Ra St. Brown's brother is on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And you got David Montgomery. Like, the weapons are just not there. The defense played really well and should be pretty good this year. But around him and the weather was, if we're going to use that excuse for Trey Lance, we got to use it for Justin Fields. But I mean, Fields was just missing throws in the first half.
I texted Sam immediately after the game, and I want to put it out there that I don't want to put too much stock into that game. One, yes, because it's week 1, and 2, because they were playing in a freaking monsoon.
At least the second half they were.
Yeah, so I think we got to take that game at face value on exactly what it was, which was just a sloppy game in a sloppy field.
And I don't know, play calling was really awful too. Like, they had plenty of 3rd and longs where they just straight up ran the ball. Like, it wasn't even a draw play. Like, it was just we're doing an inside run here. We're doing an inside zone run. We're going to get this first down. It's like, no, you're not. I'm sorry. The Niners have been stopping your run the entire day. Like, before, if it wasn't for the 11 penalties that the Niners had, the Bears maybe would have finished with 3 first downs. That's how bad it was going for that team.
Yeah. Well, again, I just wanted to get that in there because, I had to throw it in there.
I mean, we could talk about how
just for reasons
awful Trey Lance looked too. I thought he looked really good.
We don't have to do that. It's week 1.
He was really under control in the first half. You could see, but once they started getting down and the pressure was going on, he was just, the DBs for Chicago said it. They tried making him a quarterback and he just missed a lot of throws.
Yeah. Well, if we're allowed to overreact on week 1, then we're allowed to underreact on week 1. And I think it's safe to say that we can underreact to both performances by those quarterbacks. So week 1 obviously was a bit of a wild slate of games between the Eagles-Lions game coming down to it, the monsoon between the 49ers and the Bears, the Steelers and the Bengals, overtime, just antics. The Browns winning on a monster field goal at the end to beat Baker. The Colts and Texans tying. The Saints were much closer to the Falcons than that was supposed to be. The Vikings beat the Packers. The Giants win. Mahomes goes out, just goes ape. Just absolutely, I didn't want to curse on the show, but you know what I mean? And finish that sentence for me. And then Dak goes down. And he's going to be out.
Lamar looked great.
Lamar looked great.
The contract negotiations, he looked phenomenal.
Yeah, the Seahawks beat the Broncos. Just a wild week 1, but everything you could want from a sports fan.
Man, so one thing we need to touch on, I feel like the theme of this was special teams need to get it together. It was there week 1 too. The amount of blocked kicks, missed field goals, everything that with games on the line, Tennessee, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh both missing, and Denver we've already discussed a little bit. Atlanta getting their field goal blocked too for the win. I mean, you had so many of these games going right down to special teams is either going to win it or lose it, and a lot of cases they were losing it.
Yeah. I think that just goes into the unpredictability of what week 1 can sometimes bring.
Oh my gosh, we didn't even. Rodrigo Blankenship lost his job because of week 1. That was insane. The Colts kicker, because he just absolutely shanked one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
He's gonna file for unemployment. Yep.
He's gonna file for unemployment.
Yep.
But again, like I said, I think that plays into the unpredictability of week 1. And hopefully you can see if your team was on that side of just being somewhere off in the ether, hopefully they come back to earth for your guys' sake. So on that note, let's move our way towards week 2. Let's make our picks. So looking back at week 1, I did win 3-2. I had the Bills winning, I had the Eagles winning, and then I had the Saints winning. And it was looking a little bit bad there at the end for the Saints. Bless you, that was off screen.
Yeah, holy cow.
Came out of nowhere. So I did take the win 3-2. I don't know what the percentage of the correct picks were. Sam will do the math on that, and that'll be up in the screen. So let's.
I don't think either of us did very well.
I'm not 100% sure either, but I don't know why I had you picking Seattle. Let me change that because that was not the case.
No, that
All right.
happen.
All right, so here we go. Let's move our way towards week 2. This is going to be the Thursday night game. We're going to try to get this episode out Thursday. If not, then obviously the game will have been played the day before. So, but we're going to try to get this episode out on Thursday. So it should be playing tonight. Let's go Chargers, Chiefs. Chiefs are at home. We talked about it. You said the Chiefs right now look like they're the class of the AFC West. I agree with you. I'm going to take the Chiefs at home.
I'm taking the Chargers.
Okay. Okay.
That was just an overreaction to week 1. Still think the Chargers are going to win.
It definitely is. And I'm picking against my division winner. And you know what? I see an absolute scenario for the Chargers winning and their defense just swarming Patrick Mahomes like they did Derek Carr. So the script is there, but I'm going to fall victim to overreacting on week 1. I'm fully admitting to that. And we're going to go in picking the Chiefs. So
hey, that script that you just read, that's the one I got delivered.
Truthfully, I would prefer if the Chargers win because I think, well, actually no, because they're both 1-1. So I was going to make a case for everybody being 1-1, but they both won. So that doesn't mean anything. All right, let's move on to Patriots Steelers. Yeah, I did my math. Totally wrong. I'll take the Steelers at home.
I want to take the Pats, but their offense just looked. They did like there's just no reason to pick that offense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take
agreed.
Pittsburgh.
All right, both got Pittsburgh. Let's move on to Panthers Giants. Giants at home. Giants coming back to a New York crowd that is going to be absolutely ecstatic to see them. Panthers coming off a tough loss, but they played well. We got.
I'm taking the Panthers.
I'm going to be fun. I'm going to take the Giants. Why not? Saquon is going to carry them. I really don't know.
I'm not fun.
I don't feel comfortable with that pick at all, but just to
you're going to be 2-0. You got the Giants going 2-0.
Yeah, why not? Why not? All right, Jets Browns. I'll take the Browns at home.
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns too.
All right, Browns at home. Clean sweep from both of us. Moving
on. Yeah,
because
Flacco's still starting, right?
I believe so. Yeah, Wilson's going to be out to like week 4 or something. All right, Colts Jags. I'll take the Colts over the Jags.
I really want to take the Jaguars. I really do, but I think this game will show the difference between a Matt Ryan-led Colts team and a Carson Wentz-led Colts team, because I think they will rebound a lot better from losses with Matt Ryan on the field than what was happening with Carson Wentz last season. So I think this game will just signify that, completely show that. So I'm going to pick the Colts.
All right. So we got your favorite team right now against the Ravens. Dolphins, Ravens. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Dolphins.
I'm taking the Ravens. Ravens.
They didn't steer me wrong.
I was going to say, I feel like you have to ride with them until they knock you down, right?
So I was actually just thinking about this today. At the end of the year, we should give like teams records based off of our picks. Like say later in the year, we picked Tampa Bay to be 14-2 or something like that, and they ended up being 11-5 or whatever.
Full disclosure: the Raiders should be 17-0 on my picks. They're rivaling.
not the Raiders and Niners, but like every other team. Right. Like, do we like completely like
how
Kansas
close
City?
Were we?
Do we pick Kansas City every single week And in
Right, how
actuality,
close
there's no
was it?
way.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. We'll bookmark that. All right. You can book. All right. All right, here we go. Buccaneers, Saints. Saints are at home. They've had the Bucs number every single year,
Yep.
but they looked not great.
The Saints, they looked all right.
I know. All right is not great.
Give me the Saints.
Saints at home. You know what? It's one of those things where I don't know if I feel good enough to go against what history has said over the past couple seasons. So I'm just gonna pick the Saints as well.
Interesting.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. All right, here we go.
You're screwed.
Here we go. Lions and the Commanders. Interesting game.
This is the toughest game.
Yeah.
This is the toughest game on the schedule.
Interesting game. I love it.
I want to pick Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huge Detroit homer right now. But I'm overreacting. I am completely prisoner of the moment. Carson Wentz is going to blow that team out of the water. Give me Washington.
I'm going to say if the Lions are going to get wins this year, it's going to have to be against teams that are of the Commanders' stature.
Okay.
The first game at home, I feel like they're America's team right now. They just played their hearts out against the Eagles. I'm taking the Lions.
It was at home. They played the last game at home, but it's fine.
Oh, the Lions were at home? Oh, that's right. I thought they were. Yeah, my bad.
But it's all good. It's the same thing.
I don't think that the Lions crowd is going to hold that game against them. So give me the Lions. I'm going to ride the Kool-Aid. The Lions at home getting their first win against the Commanders. All right.
I can't blame you for that one. That was
Seahawks.
Oh, give me the Niners.
Yeah, great.
Let's tie this division up.
Right. I'll take the 39ers as well. 39 because they're not in full form yet. Here we go. Rams, Falcons.
They're 39 because Trey Lance hasn't grown up yet.
39 because that's how many picks he's going to throw.
Okay.
Actually, Derek's on page for that. Right. All right, give me the Rams.
Yeah, give me the Rams. Somehow Atlanta looked worse than the Rams did in week 1.
Yeah.
And that is saying something.
All right. Raiders, Cardinals. Raiders home opener against the Cardinals.
Wait. Oh my God. I am so sorry. I'm still taking the Rams. I legitimately thought that it was Arizona v Rams. I don't know why my brain worked like that.
Good.
I'm gonna take the Raiders.
If they lose this game, then I'm gonna start to I'm gonna get real bleak on this show.
A little panic.
Real fast. All right. Broncos.
Derek tops himself and gets 4 picks.
Yeah, I know. That's not my hardwood right now. Slam. I have a wooden. Remember these kendamas from years ago? Wood on wood. That was a little too sexual for the show. All right, here we go. Texans, Broncos.
Give me the Broncos.
I agree. Tell you what, though.
One of those teams is undefeated.
I know.
And it's not the team we're picking.
I know. Tell you what, though. Davis Mills. Gunslinger. All right, here we go. Bengals, Cowboys. Game is a lot less interesting now.
Bengals have to win this game.
Yeah. And, man, Joe Burrow. Tough opener for, I would say, out of all of the star quarterbacks in the league, probably had the worst week 1 out of any of them.
He turned it around. Quickly, but that first half was ugh.
Yeah, for sure. All right, here we go. Last couple games. Let's move our way towards the Bears and the Packers. Very interesting game now.
What a palate cleanser for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Yep. The team that he owns. If they lose, though, that just puts more pressure on, more panic on that franchise than I think the Raiders losing. If they lose to the Bears, then it's like, oh, Aaron is done.
It's not even his fault. I mean, did you watch his receivers just drop passes that were literally handed to them? I'm gonna take the Packers just because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is gonna let them lose.
I think defense has to recover. They're not going up against Justin Jefferson, who they couldn't guard. They're not going against Thielen and Osborne and Dalvin Cook. Like, this is a much more manageable matchup for them.
Absolutely. Bills, Titans.
Buffalo,
100%. It's going to be really hard for me to pick against Buffalo this year if they keep doing what they're doing.
I already picked against them this year, so
right.
I'm gonna have to learn from my mistake.
All right. I gotta say, the last game, there are a couple of, like, 3 games that I'm really interested in this week. The Chargers Chiefs. I'm really interested in the Dolphins Ravens game.
Big time.
I am also interested in the Commanders Lions game, but this Vikings Eagles game, I'm actually really excited now.
10 o'clock slate. I will have Commanders Detroit on out of all those teams
over Dolphins Ravens.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe I don't think I disagree.
It's Wentz v. Goff too. Number 1 pick versus number 2 pick in that draft. You don't even think about it. Oh, jeez.
Vikings Eagles.
I'm gonna go Philly.
Yeah, I've been tooting the horn of Jalen Hurts this whole time, so I'm not gonna back off of it yet. I'll take the Eagles at home. Right now, we are at 4 games. So is there one that you would feel comfortable lopping on? If I'll take a look as well.
I'll go Tampa Bay instead of New Orleans. Oh no, oh yeah, you picked New Orleans.
I was gonna say I can swap for that one because that was the one that I was the most hesitant on. So I mean, if you are dead set on switching it, then you can, because that was the one that I was looking at.
I don't want to move off Carolina v. Giants. I don't want to move off Miami. I don't really want to move on to Detroit either. That's kind of the only game that I think is close.
All right. I mean, like I said, I think you flipped last week, so I am more than willing to flip on the Bucs pick.
You're flipping to the favorite.
I know, but what I'm saying is I picked the Saints because that was, like I said, didn't want to go against what history has shown.
I'm down if you want to go to Detroit or in Tampa.
Okay, how strongly do you feel about taking the Bucs?
I mean, I picked New Orleans.
Right.
Who knows? That game could go either way. I don't know. I don't honestly know. I'm not putting money on the game, so.
Okay. All right. I just don't want to pigeonhole you into that. If you really want to take the Bucs, then go ahead and take it.
It's too late.
Okay. All right. So the difference in picks, I've got the Chiefs. Sam has the Chargers. Sam has the Panthers. I've got the Giants. I have the Ravens. He's got the Dolphins. I have the Bucs now. He has the Saints, and I've got the Lions. He's got the Commanders. I have picked the Lions and the Giants to win this week.
I picked Jacksonville and Detroit and Atlanta to win. Those are going to be 3 of the teams fighting for the number 1 overall pick this year.
Nice. Love it. All right.
When I saw that Jacksonville and Atlanta were up in the 4th quarter at the same time, I was so happy.
All right. Well, picks are in the Google Doc, so they are now official. Cannot be changed. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening in to this episode of Nothing to Say the Fans podcast. We really do appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed week 1. Hope your team wins week 2, unless they are the Arizona Cardinals. I don't forget who the 49ers are playing, but, for that sake. Okay.
Definitely Seahawks fans, you can go F yourself.
Yep, exactly. So, although Seahawks fans, you are in my good graces right now for beating the Broncos.
Yeah, they got their win. You guys got your win. So now the entire division can be tied because Arizona's going to beat the Raiders and the Rams are going to beat Atlanta.
No, see, Arizona's not going to win.
No, see, you were mistaken there.
You were on the right track, but you deviated a little bit. So, all right. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the football, and we will see you all next week.
Hopefully your guys' fantasy team plays better than mine did this week. That's all I'm going to say.